All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the How Can I Support My Child series. It's a rainy morning in Abuja, and every time it's a rainy morning, we struggle with network. Okay, thank you for joining us this morning. It's another beautiful week, and that time where we start the How Can I Support My Child series. It is a series where we come and answer the questions that parents ask us every time about how they can support or how they can work with their children to be effective, to be better at what they are doing. Dear parents, the conversation in parenting is not about how good you are a parent as a parent. The conversation is not about being a good parent or a bad parent. The conversation is about what knowledge do you have? What information do you have? What knowledge are you building? And how are you applying this knowledge to support and empower your children? It is only when we begin to execute using the knowledge and the information that we have gathered, that is when we position ourselves as strategic parents. It is when we apply that we become visionary parents. Because when you learn and you have the requisite knowledge, then the next thing you will be thinking is, what or where does this knowledge serve? How can I position myself, right, to apply, or mean to support my child, and how can I position my child to make the best of what it is that I know? That is what being strategic is about. Today, we are answering another question. In what simple ways can I support my child to start the school year well? Thank you if you have joined us. I see you, Ngozi Kaoji. Thank you for joining me, ma'am. If you are here and you have a friend that needs to be here, a relative that should be a part of the show, we do this at 8:30 a.m. every Monday, every week. Monday, every weekday, Monday through Friday. If you have a friend, a family member, a loved one that should be a part of this program, a part of this series, why don't you tag them on Facebook or send a link to them on YouTube? If you have joined us on YouTube and you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, why don't you go ahead and click on that subscription button? Remember to also click on the notification button so you get notified every time we come live. We try to make this show between 20 and 30 minutes. Sometimes we stretch it a little, but hey, the mandate is to give you a show for 20 to 30 minutes where we can give answers to the questions that parents have that can help them become more effective as parents and more supportive parents to their children, so that we can raise children who are empowered, children who can take initiative, children who can navigate simple pathways on their own, so that we can build them up to become productive, resourceful teenagers. That way, we can have an amazing relationship with our children and we can make the best of, their young age and their teenage years. Welcome to the show. We will go right in. Now you will see a lot of master classes, a lot of suggestions on how you can prepare right for back to school. So I'm sure you've attended one back to school program, or you're about to attend one, or you're reading something on back to school. You have even seen these things over and over again. In fact, we have a back to school guide that we will be sharing. It's a free guide. We will share it with you to add to the many knowledge or information that you are already gathering or that you have already. All right, but a lot of times we focus on what we need to do as parents to succeed in the school year. We focus on how we need to do our back to school, what we need to get, what we need to buy, how the children need to look this new term, and all of that, and we forget to look at the people who are the most important as per how they get ready or how they get prepared for the school year. It is a thing because it is the child that is going to school. It is the child that will have to apply themselves in the new school year in order for them to be successful. All right. Sometimes we also look at this with our older children. What do we do for our children who are going back to university and all of that? Now, today, I want to shift the spotlight from all of these people, the grown-ups, the adults, the teenagers, all the big people who know what to do. How about our young children, our 6-year-olds, our 8-year-olds? How about our preteens? How do we get them set? How do we prepare them for the school year? How do we ensure that they get into school with the right energy and that we can sustain that energy throughout the school year? What do we do to ensure that this is their lot? All right, this is what we're going to be sharing in this class, because we have had parents ask us this question. Okay, how can I ensure that my child is successful? The child understands, right, the mandate for the new school year. All right, number one thing you want to do is you want to prepare the child psychologically. All right, we want to help the child understand that something is happening. Dear parents, whether your child is going to school for the first time or your child is returning back to school, whether that child is a kindergartner or the child is a year one, year four, or year six child, right, it is a new milestone. Right? It's a new milestone. The child is about to go into something or somewhere that the child hasn't been before. If the child is going to school for the first time, it's a new environment. If the child is moving from nursery to from nursery to reception, it's a new milestone. The child is moving from year 5 to year 6 or year 6 to year 7, that's JSS1, it's a new milestone. So don't take it lightly, or don't just act as if it's one of those things, it's just back to school. Whatever you give energy, I want you to always put this at the back of your mind. Whatever you give energy as a parent will grow. The things that are priority for you as a parent, your child is influenced by the things that are your priority. The things that you give energy to are the things that your child will grow in, and the same thing that your child will give energy to. Now, when we focus on the lunch boxes, the lunch boxes, the school bag, the clothes, and everything. When that is the focus every time the child is going to school, you move everything about back to school. You move everything about returning to school or going to achieve a new milestone. You reduce it to items. You reduce it to new bottle, new bag. So the child is excited about the new bag, the new napkin, backpack, the new bottle, and all of that. That's because this is how you have reduced it, or this is what you have traditionally turned back to school to. But no, you want to prepare your child psychologically for the new milestone, the higher grounds that the child is going on or going to. Okay, the higher grounds, the new goals, the new ceilings to break. You want to prepare them that way for that. So you want to start having that conversation about the fact that you are older now, you are bigger now, the expectations are more now, and so you need to prepare yourself. You need to prepare yourself for more, especially in this last few days. The children have been engaged in skills. They've been having lots of fun. They've been playing. They've had the reading challenge. They've done a lot of activities. Now it's the last 1 week or 2 weeks right before school. For some people, school is already here. For those not in America, right? Some of my kids in the mastermind are going back to school this Monday, okay, and all of that. So in this last few days before school, now you want to now sit down and have that conversation, or you want to have that conversation while you're driving, while you're cooking together. Just make them understand that there are new goals to be set, there are new expectations, there are new grounds to break. You are going to be expected to put in more energy, more effort, and all of that. Now, this is also the time, if you haven't looked at, I don't think you should have bothered looking seriously at what, after seeing the effort, for last school year, you celebrated it or encouraged, and made them understand, okay, there's more that we can do in the next school year. I am hoping that you closed that school report and kept it and had fun and enjoyed and allowed the child to relax throughout the summer holiday. Now, this is the time to pick that report out again, not so that you can castigate the child, not so that you can dwell on the past, but rather because you want them to look at what the struggles were in the last school year so that we know where we are going to focus on in the new school year, where we will start our focus on in the new school year. So this is time to dust out that result and look at it again and see the areas where they are struggling. Now let them also be a part of this exercise. Let them see and look at this together. Now you are going to be the quiet person in this conversation who is listening, and you are putting, I mean, positioning yourself or making yourself available to support the child. So you want to ask the question, sweetheart, I need you to look at your report from last school year, and I need you to let me know what your struggles were, why this was this way, why this was that way. Oh, you did amazingly well. All right. And we want to do more. I need you to let me know what area you would want me to support you so that you can do even better this school year. Let the children ask for your support. We need to teach children how to ask for support. We need to teach children how to want more and then seek the people that can help them achieve more. All right. So have that conversation with your child just before they get back to school. When you do this, it becomes, an avenue for you to prepare them psychologically to go back to school and excel. All right. Do that with them and for them so that they can get into that space. All right. So it's not all about bottles and school bag and naps and new packs and cabin biscuits, so that we can actually put the focus where the focus can be. All right. So that's number one. Prepare them psychologically for the new milestone. All right. Number two thing you want to do is you want to ensure that the children are in the right place as far as their health, their mental health, their lifestyle, all of that is in place. All right. So you want to do you want to start the school year with a vibrant child, right? You want the child to be vibrant. You want the child to be in the right place medically, all of that. So if you can't afford it, it's a good time to stop and do those, routine checks, check their teeth, let them, a teeth check, ear, eyes. A lot of times we see children who struggle in school, and for the longest, you are there thinking there's a problem, the school is this, the school is that, the child is not doing well, and all of a sudden you wake up one day and you realize the child has actually always had a challenge with their sight, with their eyesight. So a lot of times they really don't see, especially if you are in a system where whiteboards and interactive boards and all of those are used, in teaching. Now, it could be that the child isn't even seeing, as well as they should, and the child doesn't even know that they are not seeing as well as they should, because for the longest time or forever, that's how the child's vision has been, or the child's vision has been poor, and you didn't know. Okay, so you want to do that eye check. I've heard of someone that it was when the child was, the child was like way gone in primary and elementary school. Okay, and for some they had a chance to do an eye check. No, it was when he even got into someone shared that experience with me recently. He had gone, into a new school, somewhat one level in school, and they recommend the school had done a bit of check or something like that. And they mentioned, his eyes, and the parents didn't even know that there was anything around that in the past. And the first time he got, lenses that, were powerful, that could meet his need, even the child was in amazement. The child was in awe, like, oh my goodness. So meaning all these years, the child has struggled without even knowing that he himself was struggling. So you want to check all of that. Check, do the malaria test, depending on the region where you are, right? Do the simple, basic, health checks, so that you want the child to go back to school and start really strong, right? Introduce the vitamins and all of that. See your pediatrician basically and see whatever it is that you can do to boost the child and prepare the child, for the new school year, and prepare the child, right, to start strong, basically. All right. So you want to check that their health and lifestyle, and be sure that everything in that area is in place for the child to get back to school powerfully. All right. Number three thing you want to do is you want to help your child. You want to move your child's focus, right, to excelling in one area to excelling in every aspect of their lives. So, convictions. So, your convictions at the beginning of the school year is very key. So, have this conversation about your convictions. And I mean these convictions, when I say have this conversation, I mean have this conversation with your 4-year-old, with your 6-year-olds, with your, especially if you have young children and preteens, okay, that's my call, right? So with your 6-year-olds, your 6-year-olds can understand atly what you're talking about. Your 5.5-year-old, your 6-year-old, your 10, your 11, 13-year-olds. Have the conversation with them that helps you pass down your convictions. Now, this conversation is not a one-time conviction. Sit down. You are returning to boarding school. I want to let you know that you know who you are, where you are coming from. You know your parents. If I get a report that I should come and pick you, you've been suspended. Just know that's the end of that school. It's not time for threats, right? I did not say threaten the children. I did not say have a one-off conversation. I'm talking about now we are winding down, right, to starting the school year. So it's a great time to pick a book and share with your child that can help you reinforce values, your expectations, your family values, the child's personal. This is the time that can help you pass down your convictions or remind your child of your convictions, basically. What are the things that are important? This is a time to shine the spotlight on the things that are important so that your children's gaze are focused on the right thing. All right. So this is the time. And a great way to have these conversations is to get books, get resources that can help you have these conversations in the most authentic and, non-biased way. All right. Now, if you have been following me and you have read my publications, I write for young children. I write books for preteens, 7-year-olds and above, right? But your 6-year-old that you read aloud to can actually share my book. You can actually share my books with your 6-year-old through read aloud system where you read and then you have conversations about your convictions. That is one of the biggest reasons why I write the way I write and in the style that I write. Okay, it's one of the biggest motivation behind me writing at all, because I want parents to have conversations with their children, because we understand what those conversations that you have with your children, the role or the part that it plays in building your child, right? Not for today, in building the foundation for the rest of their lives, because we understand what opening that conversation line with your children as early as possible. We understand what it does, right, to them as growing children, as growing children who are growing to become teenagers and young adults in the future. When you get those communication lines open as early as possible, then there is a pathway for the flow of perspective, a pathway for the flow of your convictions, a pathway for the flow of your correction through connection. So the moment you can establish that communication line between you and your child, then every other thing can flow in that communication. Your values, your policies, your convictions, your perspectives on things. There is a line that has been opened or that has been introduced as early as possible. So that's why we say as early as when your children are 5 and 6, open that line of communication. Have a system of communication where all of these will continue to flow, right? Because it's already established between you and your child. So how do you open this line of conversations? Is to find a means, is to use resources, is to use the tools, and we create these tools, these resources, and we have committed ourselves to constantly, to continuously create and produce, these resources that parents can harness to, continue the conversations with their children. So for every book that I have written for children, you would always see conversation openers. That's what our books are. They are there to open up conversations or to help you, start conversations with your children. Because a lot of times, the only conversations we start, or the only way we start conversations with our children, is usually from a place of correction or a place of admonition. Okay, there is hardly any time where we sit down and say, "Oh, do you know this happened to me?" And then you have that conversation, the conversation is flowing and all of that. Usually it's they've done something wrong, all right, and then you scold them, you get upset with them, and then you begin to give them one example or another example, and usually many of us have not mastered how to come in that way, in an objective way. So it's usually laced with criticism, laced with antagonism, criticism, and all of that. So, but the sad thing about this is it doesn't cut it when this is the case, especially for young children. Maybe for your older children, your young adults, it could cut it because they're in that place of reasonability where they are beginning to reason and they can look past the anger, or they can look past the anger, or the disappointment in your conversation or in what you're saying. Your younger children can't. They don't have that. They've not grown to that position where they can, in the midst of all your screaming and shouting and anger and admonition, they can pick out the lessons and apply it. No, they're not in that space yet. So for these children, you want to make sure that you are not hitting them with knowledge or information or solutions at the point where you are upset with them. You want to open that communication line, preempt the things that could be the challenges, the things that they could face, the things that they may face, and then have the conversation about this, introduce them. The Lord first mentioned, be the first one to mention these things to the children, be the first one to, bring this to their level, have this conversation about big issues in small ways with them. Okay, so that's what we do with the books. We create scenarios, we create experiences so that you can have these conversations with your children before they experience these things, before their friends experience these things, before their friends tell them about these things. You've had conversations. Yesterday I was talking with the children in the mastermind circle, the older partners. Okay, so in the last month, in the whole of August, we've been learning about how to make, how to build friendship. We're teaching the children how to build friendship. It's a thing, it's a huge thing, because friendships and relationships are powerful tools. It is made from heaven. God created us to live in communities, to build relationships. That is why even the spouse that you end up with is as a result of a relationship that you have built, right, with a perfect stranger at the beginning, isn't it? So yes, relationships are key. So yes, it's something to teach children about. So we've been teaching the children about, how to build relationships. And in those relationships, we're dealing with young children and preteens. In those relationships, we're making them understand that crushes will happen, right? Emotions will, get all over the place because a lot is happening to them as adolescents. So their hormones will rage, emotions will be thrown all around the place, a lot of emotions that they can't control, they don't understand yet, or they don't have full control, will come up. And when they come up, if they are not able to manage these, they will come up in ways like, crushes. They come up in ways, like someone liking you or asking you or telling you they like you. And before you know it, our children are jumping into all kinds of things and all kinds of ways to express or to, acknowledge these emotions. And when they don't know what to do, they've not been taught what to do, they don't know their worth, and they don't know all the things that they need to do. You see them managing these emotions in poor ways. You see them getting into places and doing the things that they have no business doing, just because we have not applied ourselves and we have not done the needful. All right. So we're having the conversations with the children, yesterday, and we were talking about crushes, and I was telling them how, oh yeah, I had my fair share of those crushes, and I could see them giggling, and all of that. But hey, we we are having the conversation because the conversations need to be had. Now that we're having the conversation, I'm talking about I was talking about my 12, 13-year olds, 11-year olds, and hey, we were talking, and those of them who've had crushes were sharing. Oh, yeah, I have had, and all of that, or I have, and all of that. So if you don't open this communication lines, if you don't have these conversations, then you don't make these issues, you don't bring these issues in a way that your children see that they are just a part of life. And the more we have conversations about them, the better we can deal with them, and the better you can live your life, fulfilled, just because you're not carrying burdens that are not necessary, just because the people in your life have not, taught you the things that you should know. All right. So, yes, this is why. So, we use our books. You use our books to introduce these conversations and have these conversations with our children. I've just written two amazing books, two extremely amazing books. All right. One of them, Destined for Greatness. Now, Destined for Greatness has all of these conversations about your children feeling powerful, your children understanding that there is a lot that God has put within them that they need to tap into to become everything that God has created them to be. We don't leave it at that. We point them to icons, we point them to people who can inspire them, people whose life are exemplary, and their life depicts morality, depicts, strength, depicts, all that the children need to embody for them to be everything God has created them to be. Now, in the book, the children are able to see this, and you are able to throw in your perspective and your convictions on these issues. And that way you see that you are passing down huge convictions to your children, right? Just because there is a tool or a resource that has expanded your conversations beyond the usual how are you, so what happened, okay, this one, my friend did this, oh, my friend I did that, the teacher now said this one just said. No, we have curated resources that will help you have deep conversations, wide conversations that have got depth, and conversations that are wide, so that you can have this conversation on different lines and with depth with your children. All right. The other book is Wisdom Stories, Wisdom Stories for Champions in our Stories for Champions series. Amazing, amazing books. Okay. Amazing. The books are out in the next 2-3 days. In the next 2-3 days, we will have physical, like hard copies of this book, and you can grab your copy of the book for your children. Now, these are two amazing books that you can actually read with the children before they go back to school, because when you do, you would have prepared them, right, as far as how powerful they are, as far as what your values are, reminding them of their values, where you're coming from, and what you expect of them, and all of that. So these are the kind of materials you want to read. So you want to read materials that focus on, helping your children build an abundance, and an impact mindset, right? So as they are going back, they are not just thinking of going back to school to go and get straight A's. You just go and pass. You just go and do well. Because some of us, that's where the conversation ends. Oh, don't go and do anything that I will not do. Don't get into trouble. Don't you know get into trouble? You know why you are in school. You went there to go and read, face your books, and do well so that you can be, and all of that. That's it. We finish this conversation this way. Face your book, eat your food, and then don't get into trouble. And that's it. How about tap into who you are? How about these are our values? How about spotlighting these things and talking about and having conversations around this? So I know it's not very easy to go the depth and the length, and the breadth of all of these conversations. And so that's why we create the resources that we create, so that it will help you go the length and breadth of these conversations that you should have. All right. Number 4, it's their association. I talked about having, the conversation with the mastermind children, having a conversation with them, about friendship, crushes, and all of that. Now, you can't send your children to school without having them understand the role or the influence of their associations in school, even for your 5 and 6-year-olds. All right. So you want to teach them, or you want to broaden and remind them and broaden their mind and their scope on friendship. They've grown older, so they should learn, higher knowledge on relationships and the people that they associate with. All right, so you want to have the conversation about their associations, right? You want to teach them empathy. So you want to go through, do role plays, tell stories, have conversations. Our books come in handy even for this one. Have conversations, tell stories, role play different scenarios that they could have, right, with friends and associates and all of that. Point your children to teachers who can be mentors to them in every environment that your children are. Help them make the best of that environment. So there are people who are human resources in the environment. Teach your children how to identify people who are human resources in their environment so that they can apply themselves, right, to making the best of the relationship with these people, and they can bring on the table also their own contribution to these relationships. You need to do that. So help them identify the human resources amongst their peers. Let them know what kind of pair or what kind of attributes, what kind of things to look out for in the people that they call their friends, in the people that they become close to in their class. Because you're going back to school, they are going to have new children in their room. They're going to have new classmates, new children in their room. They're probably going to lose one of the best friends or some of their best friends who have probably relocated, who have been moved to another class, who have changed schools. Prepare your children for all of this, letting them know that, yes, we were built for relationships and we can create new relationships and we can build the ones that we had before by ensuring that we continue to contribute or we continue to apply ourselves into those relationships. So your friends may go away, and you can still build that relationship, even while they are away. But now you are in school with a new set of people. You still need to build a relationship with the people that you are in, right? Because we all need support, we all need companionship, we all need to be relational, and all of that. Their social skills very key. So you want to teach them how to identify the people that they should connect to. You want to help your children understand the place of their integrity and their self-worth. Okay, I like to put it, you need to teach them to tag themselves right. That's why I say to the children in the mastermind, what tag are you placing on yourself? It is the tag that you place on yourself that will inform how people treat you, okay? How you treat people, first of all, and then how you allow people treat you. So it's a tag you have put on yourself that will make you demand that people treat you in a certain way, that will make you open yourself and open access, people's access to you. So when the people are not deserving, then you don't allow them access you. And when they've assessed you, then you have the way that you treat them, which becomes the tag that you have placed on yourself to allow them treat you. Now, these things are very key. But if you don't know having this conversation and you're not talking about this, your children will go to school and they will go for the flashiest things that they see, pending on the things that are your values, their values and their priority. If you don't have this conversation before your children go to school, they will go and they will tie themselves with the children who are cool. They will tie themselves with the children who have the nicest things. They will tie themselves with the children who everyone is roaming all around, even if this child is a total, distraction and a total, it's totally off when it comes to similar values and all of that. So you want to reiterate all of this, the values, and then shine the spotlight to the kind of associations that are necessary. So let them find amongst their peers the human resources. Let them find amongst their teachers, right, the ones that they can actually become affiliated to, basically because they want to make the best of their of the resources in their environment. Let your children learn how to identify opportunities in their environment. Let them identify opportunities in their environment and then teach them how to position themselves to harness or to get these opportunities, or to to be recognized as the right people for these opportunities. So these things are very important. We can't go deep into these and elaborate, but I'm hoping that you get what I'm talking about, and we will be applying this in as our children return to school. And now the last one is, you want your children to understand the place of excellence. Okay, you want them to understand the place of excellence. So let excellence be a driving force in everything. All right. So teach the children and get the children to set goals. Before they go back to school, set goals. Your 6 year olds, that's what we're going to be doing with the children in the mastermind. As soon as they come in, in September, we are going, it doesn't matter how many goals that they've set in the past, we are going to set goals, right? Goals are supposed to be set every time because we should have a mission, we should have a vision, we should have something before us all the time. If there is nothing, there are no expectations, then there is no accountability. It is when there are expectations that you can hold people accountable. So prepare your children for accountability by teaching them to set goals. Let them set the goals for themselves with your guidance and with your support. Let them set the goals for themselves and then become their accountability partner. Put them in systems where they can be held accountable. This is where the mastermind circle comes in. As your children are preparing to go back to school, put them in a system of accountability. They go hand in hand. All right, they go hand in hand. Now, in that system, they're able to, the things that the school cannot bring itself to doing, the little things that the schools will have to jump because they expect that the home should do. I hope you know that the relationship with the school is a triangular relationship. There are things that the school is not going to dabble into because the school believes and thinks that you should have dealt with that as a family or from home. The child should have this basic knowledge and basic skills from home, and the school is going to run on the foundation that you have built. That's why children ordinarily shouldn't go to school before a certain age. Okay, in some countries they don't go to school till they are about 5. In some places they don't go to school till they are about 8. Till they are about 3 and thereabout. So most times that we rush our children and take them to school when they are a few months, it's not because school is necessary at those points. It's because we need centers where we can keep them and they can be safe while we are running and doing or chasing the other things that call for our attention. Ideally, children should be at home and learn these foundational skills from home. And so the school is going to build on those skills that you have already introduced, on the foundation that you have introduced or you have set from home. All right, so that's it. So these are some of the things. Now, when you get them into systems like our mastermind circle, where there is goal setting, peer mentorship, accountability, and all of that, what you are doing is we are working with you. We are collaborating with you. We are partnering with you, right, to raise the child or to build a solid foundation on the home front. Now, that solid foundation will sustain the child to navigate so that all that they do in school become the fruits of the foundation that we've been able to build together. All right. So don't just put them in school or send them to school this school year to go and excel in school. Make sure that you have fortified and you have built a strong support system back on the home front, all right, where the children can be growing on this side and excelling out there. This is the easiest formula for your child to excel in school. It's the easiest formula for your child to excel in every area of their life, because here our focus is not on the grades. Here our focus is helping children become excellent in everything that they do by helping them develop the right skills, helping them build consistency around those skills, helping them develop executive functioning skills, the skills that will help them navigate right today and in the future. And when we do this, we raise children who can take initiative, children who can direct themselves, children who can be self-aware, children who can be resourceful, who can solve problems, who can be productive, children who are empathetic and can build effective relationships, children who know how to be intelligent, right, in their application of the things that they do. They're culturally intelligent, emotionally intelligent, socially intelligent, and intelligent in all areas. Now, when we're doing this and we are together building this foundation, in their early years, in their school, when they are school age children and during their preteens. Now, by the time our children are launched, when we graduate them at 14, into full-time teenagers, you realize that you already have a productive and highly resourceful teenager, and that's it. So while your children are preparing to go to school, these are the things you want to focus on. All right, do your mommy's parts, mommy's back to school. Get the bags, get the lunch box, look for the right school, make sure the environment is right for the child. That these are your prerogative. Okay, right environment for your child, make sure you know all those are yours. Go and learn, go, and we will give you a guide that can actually prepare you more for that. Coach Wendy even has the intentional parents actually have, you know, a course, a full course on that, how you as a parent can prepare right for the school year. Now more than that, we also want you to pay attention to the child. How can the child prepare? How can the child be set for the new school year? All right, and these are the things we have shone the spotlight on. All right, yeah, preparing them psychologically, having the child, you know, be positioned, you know, in the right place as far as their health goes. Okay, having the conversations about your convictions and your expectations, getting the children to understand the place of the right associates as they go back to school, and then of course finally getting getting the children to understand building that relationship that is a support system that will get the child in a place where the child is growing in excellence in every area of their lives, putting them in programs, accountability and support programs where they are building themselves, and the school becomes the fruit of all the foundation that you have built. All right, so we're going to stop here right now. So if you like to buy our new books, all right, and we have lots and lots of this kind of books already. Okay, so we have this amazing one, Christmas Stories for Champions, as I said, great conversation starters. All right, this is one of my books. We also have Young and Money Smarts. Okay, when you want to have those financial conversations that are very critical, this is one of my books for that conversation. Unlocking Excellence. You want them to do well beyond school? Okay, this is the time to even read this book at this juncture. You want to read this book with your child. We also have our all-time, bestseller, Bedtime Stories for Champions. Great as far as the child thinking of themselves as more. And then, yes, you want your children to be able to reflect. Okay, reflect. We have our Skill Up Journal, 365 days. Your child can record, and reflect, and grow, learn to journal. It's a powerful tool in their journey. All right, for your younger ones, Playtime Stories for Champions, activities to get their minds always exploring. And then, of course, our only parenting book. Okay, two of them actually. Mentor Parents, okay, how you can support your child. And then the planner, where you can plan and document your journey with your children. All these are available. And then the two new ones, amazing. They should be out in the next 1, 2, 3 days. Okay, and this one's also powerful. If you like to order our new books or all of our books, you can send us a message at the end of this session. You can send us a message in the comment section. If you'd like to pre-order our new books, you can get both of them right now for $6,999. Two of them for $6,999. After now, they're going to be $9,000 for 6 of them, for 2 of them. And of course, we have other perks that come with it. For instance, we have a back to school preparation class for your preteens. If you buy the book, then your preteen gets to join us for that class. Amazing session. It's going to be in the first week of September. You want to plan for that. If you like your child to join us in the mastermind circle, the place where every child should be, then send us a message. You can see the information scrolling right now. You can screen grab this information. Send us a message on 081 30621566. At the end of this, you can also check in the comment section, and you will see all the details that you need for your child to enroll your child for the mastermind circle, the place where every child that is 5 years and 8 months till 13 should be, so that we can build a solid foundation together. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. again, when we come to you with another episode, another answer to a question on how can I support my child. Bye. Have a great week ahead.